Yes, and welcome to today's broadcast of In the Tank Live with Aaron Hairston and Keith Deyo, coming to you remotely out of my mobile studio, the Jeep, out here in Bethel, Connecticut. And we've got another beautiful day, so I knew I had to get outside. I had to experience some of what's left of the summer as we transition into fall, as you know, Aaron and I's favorite season. So today we're going to be bringing to you a topic that has been presented to me in such a way and at the that I'm able to fully devour it, share it, and teach it. And you're going to hear a perspective that you may not have heard before, or you've seen glimpses of it, but may not have completely absorbed. Aaron, I mean, the weather, dude. Let's go. Get on the back porch.
And listen, my signal's not that strong, man. So it's just one
Oh,
of those things where it's quality over quantity. You know what I mean?
I love it. I love it. I love it.
It's what we're
So,
working with today. So let's go.
yeah, man. So I send you some text messages, and as you start to digest some of the things that I was sending you in a language
Yeah.
that may not be spoken outwardly to the general public or to somebody that isn't on the same path, I wanted to make sure that I got those to you in a language that we speak. And then
Right.
as we digest some of it and we translate what's in front of us so that we can be as relatable as possible, because we want to maximize relatability. We want you to know that the journey we're on and the transformation that we're going through is not only accessible to you and everyone that views this message, but it's accessible on a level that you can take bite-sized pieces. And that's why we bring you these broadcasts every day. So it's a process that Aaron and I may be going through that we've gone through over a decade. And if we were to do what we used to do, and we used to bring you the fire hose, we used to throw it all at you, and whether it was your language or not, too bad. If you get it, awesome. If you don't, oh well, we'll be here. What we're doing is creating bite-sized bits. And so the deeper and deeper Aaron and I dive, what we are allowing you to do is, you may not see specifically what we see, but the best analogy I have to describe it is one that just came to mind. As Aaron and I dive deeper and deeper into human performance and development and what's possible and maximizing genetic potential, as we take that dive down into the sea, down into the deepest of depths where light does not exist, what we're doing is allowing you at the surface to experience a bite-sized piece of what we're seeing. And those bite-sized pieces are the little bubbles. You ever watch a scuba diver? You ever watch someone that dives deep, comes up for a breath, then
Hmm.
goes back down? There's bubbles that get to the surface. Well, that's what these broadcasts are. That's what you get when you meet Aaron and I. We've seen what's possible, but if we told you, you probably wouldn't believe us. So what we're going to do is we're going to allow you to have a little bit of what we saw. That's that bubble that reaches the surface. Does that make sense, Aaron?
Oh yeah, Crystal.
So today, what you're going to help me do, Aaron, is looking at what I sent you and going, holy crap, what the heck is this dude on today? Like, there's something, he saw something, right?
Yeah.
So what I
I
heard
listened to that
was,
video 4 times.
it was like, what,
Yeah.
how, wait a minute. So
Right.
what I found this morning was a statement that was very profound to me. And that what most people are doing is they're looking to create a new personal reality with the same personality, using their brain as a record of their past rather than a map to their future.
Mm,
So that's really where I want to go today, is
yeah.
how can we more efficiently use our brains as a map to the future rather than a record of our past, allowing our thoughts to be combined with what is necessary as a carrier, combined with an emotion, which is a record of our past. An emotion is what we've experienced in the past. We've recognized it. Some of us
Hmm.
do it mostly by subconscious awareness, or lack of conscious awareness. So it happens, it's part of our software, but the emotions happened and we attached something to it. And so if we can decide which emotions we want to have at the forefront as a majority, we can decide how we want to feel, and we can
Hmm.
now apply meaning to that. And this goes all back to how to control your state as part of the 5 to Thrive that we talk about with Tony Robbins. If we can
Hmm.
make a choice of what emotion we want to feel in an abundant way, and then we can attach that emotion, and we can attach that emotion to a thought that we can vividly imagine, then that will allow us to most accurately predict our own future, which is called manifestation. In the process, creating a new personality, allowing us to step into a new personal reality. And those moments, the affirmations that we look for when we know we're on the path, are the things that most refer to as coincidence, but we know as divine intervention.
Mm-hmm.
You want to elaborate on that a bit?
Hmm.
Did I set you
So
up? Bro,
no,
I'm
no, no.
awesome today. We created space to
I'm
grow this
excited
week.
about.
You know it.
Yeah, I'm very excited about this topic because in the business that we're in, right, in the life that we live, we must translate. Okay, we must translate where people are feeling in their life.
Mhm.
And yes, Lisa, there's no coincidences. No coincidences. So this subject is very important to me because I just had a conversation with a young lady who said that she was ready to get started on transforming her life today. Okay. And she told me yesterday and she was going to get started today. We were supposed to talk tonight at 6. She called me this morning to tell me that she has to push it out till October 1st.
How?
Okay.
Okay.
So perfect example. This is a perfect example of an example of what we're talking about right now. So I said, okay. And I asked her a question, and I think this is where most of us must be bold enough to ask a question as strong as this. I said, what's going to be the difference between you getting started now and October 1st? And you realize that's months away, right?
Right.
And I said, I want to help you. However, you pushing your transformation, your mindset, your willingness to work out that long must mean that right now it's not a priority
Mm.
for you to change who you are. I said, am I correct there or am I misreading something? And I felt a little tension from her because she goes, well, I don't know how you're translating this, and maybe this isn't what I want.
Yeah.
That's what she
Shook a
said.
snow globe. You
Oh
shook a
yeah,
snow globe.
I shook it up. I shook it up, and I said, well, let me help you understand something. I said, you purchasing your program has nothing to do with what's going to end up happening. Okay, what's going to end up
Yep.
happening is we're going to work together and we're going to find a new identity for you because what you used to do leading to this point is not going to get you to where you want to go.
Yep.
And so what I'm doing now is I'm helping to understand where are we going from here, because October 1st is the day that you said you're going to get started, but we need to get started right now if you're serious. And if you're not serious, then what are you seeing as fear? And she goes, well, I got a lot going on in my life right now. I said, well, you know, it's going to get worse. I said, because when you start shaking up, right? When you
Yeah.
start shaking up emotion and you start shaking up change, all this other stuff that's familiar is going to show up and say, what about me?
Yep.
What about
Wow.
me? And so now it's time for you to make a decision. Are you going to take that baggage with you? What about me? Or is it time for you to change? Because the what about me hasn't gotten you much farther than you're when you're at right now. And I
Mhm.
said, there's a good chance that if you keep that mindset going into October 1st, you're going to tell me, can we keep it out till about January now?
Yeah.
And I said, this is important for you to understand because you working with me has nothing to do with the purchase of your package. I said,
No.
that's your food. That's your food. That's going to make the nutrition part easy. That's going to take the complexity out. I said, but your mindset and what you vividly imagine yourself becoming is scary at this moment. And all these things that said, what about me, showed up within 24 hours, less than 24 hours, and checked you on it.
Yep.
And so now I'm checking you on that check and saying, hey, how bad do
Oh,
you want?
checkmate.
And you know what? And it's a perfect example right now because, Keith, you know, this is where we must transition. Our emotional attachment to events, right? Those emotional attachments to events are going to either shake us enough to make us move, or the pain is still tolerable to sit there and sit on that nail and say, you know what? It's not that bad. I thought it was
No.
bad. And when I decided to make a choice, all this other what about me showed up. And I said, well, I don't really want to get rid of all that baggage because it's heavy. It's going to take a lot to move. And so we must we must do exactly what you said, Keith, is find a way to use our past experiences, right, to redefine and reprogram what our future is going to look like, because it's helped us to realize the likes and dislikes of what we've been through so far. Like we said yesterday, the experiences of life are just what life is, right? It's an experience in a series of events. And it's our job now to sort and sift through it and say, okay, well, let's go. What are we going to do about it? What are we going to do to make a change when all this baggage starts showing up? And we're going to make a choice. We're going to say whether or not this stone in my backpack is heavy and I'm willing to get that work in and take it to the next level, or am I going to drop it off and keep moving? This is the very important part. And we know that when we make a change, all this other stuff's going to show up really quickly to check us on the change that we decide.
Right. Are you sure that this is what you want? Because in here, my number one responsibility, this brain of mine, is to keep you safe. And it's wired that way. It's always going to be wired that way. And I need to find out if you're sure of this. Because if you're unsure and we're unstable, and we're unstable for too long, I know we're going to fall and it's going to hurt. And the longer I let you go with this unstable mindset and this unsuredness, the more momentum you're going to have. And the faster we go, if falling is our ultimate destiny, it's going to hurt more. So why don't I trip you now and save you the trouble is what's going on, right? Why don't I just trip you now? Because I know how fast we're going and I can predict how much it's going to hurt. And my job is to control pain. Every process contains pain. Now, the pain that it contains doesn't have to define you, doesn't have to scare you, it doesn't have to turn you away. We build a tolerance to certain pains in our life. We have a risk-reward system that we use. But if you're only aware of the pain that's going to cause it, it's going to be caused in the process, and your rules for away and towards are to go away from pain at all costs, well, then this isn't going to work for you. Change is not going to ever happen for you. Now, what needs to happen is that you have to understand that the rules need to be rewritten so they're not violated. Because if you violate a rule, bad things happen. So rewrite your set of rules. Rewrite what you're going away from and what it looks like to do that. So if your rule is you're hardwired to run from pain, redefine what pain is. Say, okay, pain is only when. For me, I rewrote it, and there was no physical, surgical, pharmaceutical change whatsoever. But I refused to be in pain any longer. And I literally went through a process where I was aware to rewrite it. And now I know how. Now I know how to help others rewrite it. And then integrate it in such a way that because I took an emotion that I was familiar with, and I said, this is what I feel when I'm in pain. And I said, I no longer will tolerate that feeling, and I want this feeling. I want to feel good. I want to feel healthy and vibrant. I attached that to the area that I was experiencing pain in, and I described pain now as total debilitation, loss of a limb, no hope, near death. Now, if those things happen, I've got a lot more to worry about than pain. But if they don't happen, then I'm not in pain. What I'm experiencing is an old definition of what pain used to be. So now, because I removed that ball and chain that I used to call pain, I can move further forward through what I used to see as pain and recognize it as the process. And what I've done is I've aligned myself with a group of professionals that have been there before, that provided me with a system, listen closely, a system that's not only going to give me permission to identify how adequate I am and that I'm worth it, but is also going to ease the pain in the process. So even though pain is part of the process, I can ease it. So that's why you want to be part of a system. That's why you want to be surrounded by professionals and not go it alone. We can all endure more as a group. That's why people gravitate towards things that are community driven and that have a culture and that have a proven track record. And once I get emotionally attached to that, and then I visualize vividly what I know my future, what I want my future to be, now it's going to create genetic expression. Now I'm going to maximize genetic expression, and I know when it's here because it's going to appear as what I used to think was coincidence as proof of the divine. That's it. That's what I was presented with this morning. That's what we're going through right now. You want to read some of these comments?
Oh yeah, I'm looking at a few right now. Holy smokes! So
These are hot.
Corey Kinnear, she talks about questions, and I know that in the profession of life, the questions are the most important things, because these are where you're going to evaluate circumstances, right? You're going to ask depth. You're going to ask depth. You know, the answers are not always the answers aren't always the goal, right? The better questions are the goal, because it's going to get there. So Corey, thank you so much. Yeah, you know, Corey, I really appreciate that, and I've learned from the best. I think that's easy to say for sure. Nick, yes, absolutely, man. We're getting into some really good stuff now as we're starting to elaborate what we're learning, so we can learn and teach and learn and teach and do all of what that involves. And you know, Michelle talks about, are you sure this is what you want? Because now is the best time. You know, that's the part where fear sets in quickly. You know, and I think for all of us, when we are sitting in front of someone who has, you know, doubt and disbelief, it's our turn, right? This person is begging for our A game. They're begging for us to say, I believe in you. I know you have what it takes. Because at that moment, if we have fear attached to fear, it's like, you know, following up a cry with another cry for help, a cry for help with another cry for help. And no one wins in that manner, right? No one wins in that manner. And so, yes, you must be able to be bold and you must be bold and willing to take that leap with them and say, I'm willing to link arms with you and grow along the way. And Jamie talks about this. She goes, she calls this coming to a crossroads. And when she's coaching people, she says, you have two paths to choose. Both have pain. One is pain at the beginning of getting healthy and creating new healthy habits. The other is pain that comes along when you suffer from poor health. So you do have a crossroads. You have a which way. And remember I said before, I said, you know, you have two choices. One comes with abundance and one comes with limitations.
Yep.
Right. And so as you choose that path, this is the part where we must grow. We must identify where is it in our life, in our experience and these events that have happened, that we can reframe the way that the emotion can feel. And notice what I said, the way that it could feel. Right? Because we can choose how to feel about a circumstance, right? You know, perception is everything, right? How you see some things is how you see everything. And if you want to change that scenario, then change how you see things, and what you see changes. And so as our minds start to kind of show up to protect us, right? Keith, we talk about our unconscious mind. That's where fear sets in. And so it's so important that you tell people and not making a choice, and going down one path and not going down another path. And don't be afraid to be bold. You know, it was funny, you know, Leslie, my wife looked at me as she heard me say the statement to this young lady on the phone, and Leslie just looked at me like, whoa, I can't believe you just said that to that person. She's like, I'm going to see how this goes. And you know what the end of that conversation ended up being is, you know what, Aaron, can you stay in touch with me between now and October? And are there any resources that I can work on that's going to help me to create these new habits that I know now that I must redefine? And the answer was yes. See how quickly we got out of the fear of a purchase versus a choice of change? It's something that we get so caught up in, and that the transaction has very little to do with what the outcome is going to be, but it must start somewhere, right? And so Keith, this subject today is so powerful. And you know, Jamie says she was at a crossroads on March 21st, 2015, and she chose health. And now it's changed not only her life, but hundreds of people. You know, and that's the thing. It's like someone asked me, how do you continue to do what you do with rejection and no's and all this other stuff? I said, you know what? Because I think of the person that introduced this to me. If that person, before that person decided that the last no they got was the last opportunity to share the gift, then I would have never gotten it. Right? And so we must continue to push forward and grow, even if someone else is not willing to grow yet. Pour belief into them. You know, let them know that that's okay. I want to circle back with you and let you know that I've gotten on a bus right now that's taking me to another place because the place that I'm coming from wasn't desirable anymore. And I'm willing to do what it takes to change it. And I'm willing to come around and circle back with you when you're ready. And when you're ready, we're going to choose you because you're worth great value, because you are worth it. You have everything you need. You have everything you need. You just got to choose. If you are worthy of it, you have to
Yep.
accept it. And you have to know that your brain is so powerful, man. As we start to dive into the brain, holy smokes. Holy smokes. You know how many things our brain is doing per second? And we take that for granted, man. If we just go ahead and focus on what we do want for the majority of our time, what we don't want doesn't have time to show up. We fill that gap up. We fill that gap up. And Lisa talks about here, she goes, it's so important to continue to support people who are stalled by fear. My goodness gracious, that fear part, right? That false expectation of feeling real, whatever it is in your mind that's showing up and saying, well, I don't know if I can do this. Right? Is what most people fear. Is, am I worthy? Am I possible? And you know, she says she has people tell her how much they appreciate that, and they never give up on it. We got some
Yeah.
feedback going on. I guess we have some people that want to be part of this conversation too.
Yeah, man. That's how we maximize the translation. That's how we maximize the message. And Aaron,
Yeah.
if I want people to know that if they see us, if we come into their life, there's a couple things that are going to happen. We're definitely shaking up your snow globe. We're definitely going to change the soil that you're in. Now, we're either going to show up and realize that you haven't gotten the necessary amount of sun to believe in how strong you are, and we're going to remove some weeds. We're going to remove some of those shadows. But in the process of us doing that and allowing you to breathe some of the air that we know you can breathe and to absorb some of that sun that you've been so deprived of, you're going to grow. And in that growth process, it would be a lot more painful if you were getting little bits and pieces of sun through weeds rather than getting the full amount, getting the full sunshine. You weren't meant to grow in the shade. That's not you. When you look at the package, it did not say grows in shade. It says grows best in full light. The problem was, even though somebody may have planted you in a garden, that point something shifted. You required, for some reason, you may have required more safety. For some reason, the sun may have not looked so good to you, or somebody may have taken some light from you. They may have overshadowed you. So remember what it said on the pack of your seeds. On the back of that packet, it was you were made to grow in full light. And that's the key. So we're going to come along. We're going to shake it up. We're going to remove some of those weeds. We're going to clear out some of the obstructions in your life. If you're ready and if you're strong enough, at the moment you see us, maybe you do have enough sun during the day. You got enough light that your root system is strong enough that we can even replant you in new soil. Because we know where the most fertile ground is. And that replanting process can be scary because we're taking you into a new environment, an environment where it's extremely fertile, and you're surrounded by other beautiful plants and flowers, and you will be blessed upon blessed upon blessed. And once your roots gain ground, and once your roots gain strength, we're going to protect you from the storms, knowing that you're strong enough, and we're going to pour massive amounts of fertilizer on you. That's what we're doing here. So if that analogy makes sense to you, then, and that's something you're ready for, then let's go. Let's grow. That's why we say that every single day. Let's grow. We're one team. And this garden that we're planting of abundance and prosperity in between the peaks is everything you've ever looked for. And as Aaron comes back on, because he broke his own internet because he was so passionate, and the energy that was flowing just broke the thing.
Let's go.
I want you to take us out, Aaron. I want you to take us out today knowing that It's safe. The pain is real, but we will ease it in the process of you becoming the best version of you.
Be the most pliable. Be the one that's willing to bend but not break. And here's the great thing about it is that we can change our state. We spoke about that this morning on Transformation Thursday, and we speak about it a lot when we hear certain leaders just really embody what it takes to take people to the next level. And so if this has shaken your snow globe and you're ready to make a change, change your state. Stand up in your seat right now and give yourself a fist pump, right? Give yourself a yes. Give yourself a pat on your back and say, you know what, I'm possible. Because that's what it's going to take. It's going to take for you to believe in you and be the one to go forward first and be the one to make a change, because everybody's watching. Everybody's watching. And the one that is in the most pain is waiting and praying that you're going to go where no one else has gone before, so that they can look back at themselves and say, thank you for shaking your snow globe, so now I can shake mine and I can change the scene into a beautiful, beautiful vision of what I see myself doing.
I want to give a
So
shout
let's go,
out,
people. We want to thank all of you for
shout out to Greg Heineman there. He's saying, sweet shirt. This is a shirt provided to me by one of the best postural, pain-free postural specialists that I've ever met, and part of a program that you're going to be very aware of. People like David Norrie showing up on here. I mean, the path that he has paved for us to step into, giving us permission to do what we do, huge. So, I mean, the people are coming. The ground is fertile. And when you're ready, we'll show up in your garden, ready to go to work. Now, for all of those that showed up today live on the in the tank, and the comments, the likes, the loves, this thing was lit today. We love and appreciate you. And for the hundreds of thousands of people that are going to see this on replay, continue to share, continue to like, love, and comment, because this is what makes this thing grow. Your likes, your loves, the comments, the shares, that's the heartbeat of this message. We will see you tomorrow on Freedom Friday, same time, same place, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, on In the Tank live with Aaron Hairston and Keith Deyo. Be blessed.